very valid.
Yes, and I have a question. The way it's written, it's like this, there's a couple of pages that go through the policy, and then there's a couple other that kind of says the same thing.
The first 2 pages are the old policy, and the second 2 pages are the revised policy.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's, okay,
yeah, it's just a 2-page
okay.
policy. I wrote it up, and then Mike looked at it, and then Kathy looked at it, and then James looked at it, so we had
So we
several
condensed it.
revisions on it.
Okay,
Then the audit committee looked at it. and they
Yeah,
had
the
some
audit committee looked at it, and that's how James got it, and we critiqued it from there.
okay. Guess I was the only one that got
And-
confused.
And everybody that got it is comfortable with the rendition that's laid out before us today?
Until we find out that it's held us somewhere else.
All right.
Okay,
That being said, I would move for approval as presented.
second?
Second.
Okay, Ian, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, and item 3, discussion for possible action, approval of budget transfers within and between functions or programs within a fund that do not increase the total appropriation of the fund or adjust for approved grants/agency funds. Kathy?
This is just the normal quarterly, and the fire district actually didn't have any budget adjustments.
I'll make the motion to approve. I'll second.
Okay, so we have the first and the second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. And then item number 4, discussion for possible action, approval of monthly financial reports for September 2022. Kathy Workman?
Again, these are just the quarterlies showing the information on what was spent in expenses and revenue.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting with the County Fire Commission and then reconvene the regular County Commission. And we are ahead of schedule. So we'll go ahead then to page 3. Under department heads, 8-1, Lori, under Lori Romero, Library Director, Senior Program Administrator. A, discussion for possible action, approval to accept FY 2023 State Collection Development Funds in the amount of $2,256.
Good morning. Okay, these are state funds, they're set aside by the legislature, and how much a library gets is based on formula based on material expenditures the prior year. So this year we were eligible for $2,256 to spend on library materials.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item B, discussion for possible action, approval to accept $8,000 from the EJC Foundation to replace various kitchen equipment and cover 2 years of lease for the dishwasher. Lori?
Okay.
You sound a little excited about that.
I did. I'm enthused.
We're excited.
When the senior center's doing well.
The EJC Foundation's done, so they set aside about $8,000 each year for the senior center. And so we are going to use approximately $5,000, I put that in backup documentation on the budget, about $5,700 on kitchen equipment and then $2,260 on the 2 years for dishwasher lease, which definitely helps our budget and the opportunity to replace some of that equipment that needs it back. Hands do wear out.
So is that a new dishwasher, or is that just a continuing lease on
It's a
on it?
continuing
on
lease
it?
of the one we have.
Which you've had for a few years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that Nico, do they maintain
Yes.
that? Okay, yeah, they do a good job maintaining them.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Looking for a motion for approval?
I'd move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
okay, Richard. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then item C, discussion for possible action, approval to start the process to change the name of the Ely Senior Center.
Okay, today I bring this for discussion. Nothing has been proposed or anything else. This last spring, I virtually participated in the National Coalition on Aging Conference. And there was quite a bit of discussion about the word senior. People tend to avoid, especially your younger baby boomers who now you're trying to recruit to using your centers to keep them thriving. And it's not just the name change that's being proposed out there, and some are jumping aboard, some are not, and after, we'll throw it out there and see what happens. Is also changing some of our programming that we look at over there, which the library's gonna kind of be participating in this coming year. You know, offerings more like social media type workshops and that kind of thing that some of our existing seniors are into and interested in, but then hopefully we can bring some of these other seniors that may aren't coming to the center, get them come in the doors for a program, a workshop, and say, hey, I need to start coming to lunch here. And matter of fact, we recently have been kind of partnering with Catholic Charities. They've been coming in doing COVID vaccinations and this and that, and some other programming with us on nutrition. And it's actually brought new people in that hadn't been to the center before. So this is kind of that same theory of thinking, but like I say, kind of targeting those younger baby boomers. And the problem is, a lot of them are still working because of the economy, and we're seeing our numbers increase because of economy, but not necessarily our donations, which is understandable.
Sure, go ahead, Richard.
Changing the name of the senior center, it is a senior center, we talked about this morning. I'm a senior, I'm proud of it, you get to be 50 years old or 55 and you become a senior. Where do you go? You go to the senior center. Where's lunch? The senior center. But this changing of names universally, just because it's politically correct, is in my opinion, just a waste of time. And once you did all that, and you start to do your stationery, you rename all those papers and all that stuff, it's just an expense. And we at White Pine County, and I'm speaking for White Pine County, we don't have to go nationally or go along with a whole bunch of other people. But I just think that, my opinion, is that it is it's the senior center. It's known throughout the community. You go down, you have lunch at where do you go? You go to the senior center. You get your discount at the movie theater or wherever you get it. What do you get? You get a senior discount. It's like a badge of honor. So to me, it's kind of like, it's following a trend, which is change it all, tear a statue down because Robert E. Lee wasn't a Republican or something. It's just another stretch of paperwork and red tape, and really changing the name from senior center to whatever you want to name it would be just, to me, a waste of time, a waste of money. And those of us that do reach a pinnacle of life and become senior centers, we're proud to go to the senior center, and I walk into the restaurant, I want my senior discount or whatever I get, and to have that badge of honor, be called a senior is good. It's great. It's something that I earned, or anybody else my age has earned. So as far as changing the name, I vote, if I have a vote, I would say no, leave it the way it is.
And I will clarify, there is no financial changes because the supposed or proposed would only change just the name of the building. It would not change the name of the program as far as paperwork and grants and that. It's just for clarification, but no, I agree with you, Richard. It is a milestone. Like I say, I just fear I bring it to the board, throw it out there for discussion, see if there's the appetite or not.
Even the name of the building, no. So that's all I gotta say about it.
Has this idea been played around during lunch with the seniors who attend at all?
Not recently. A few years back, I did have a couple of seniors ask about possibly, why we would not change it and once again get away from the senior thing, and that was kind of before everything's become so political. And that's not why I brought it, because I don't like politics. Like I say, they're behind us to kind of attract some of those younger baby boomers, not But I'm like, Richard, it's a milestone, you know? When I turned 60, that was the first thing I was proud to do, is go over there and sign up for my paperwork, so they could claim me on their paperwork, you know, and get their reimbursements. But, you know, everybody has their own ideas, so.
You know, I think you've already started the work that really needs to be done to appeal to a different crowd is number one, it's a beautiful center, and the staff does an incredible job, which is always gonna be the draw. But a diverse programming schedule, I think, is the greatest draw. I think that's gonna get people way more excited than a name change. And I think having the social media programs and these health programs now, I think you've already got the key to it right there.
So, was there discussion amongst the seniors? I mean, and then at your meeting, and I don't wanna cause a firestorm or anything, but was anything proposed with the
No.
brainstorming sessions, or?
No, because at first I wanted to see if the appetite was on this level before we went that direction. So,
I definitely see if there's some strong opinions one way or the other, otherwise this board likes the status quo. I mean, name it the Center for the Children of the Greatest Generation or something like that.
Yeah,
That's an expensive sign, dude. Or the Booming Center of White Pine County. Yeah, maybe just float it around at lunch and see kind of
see if there's any.
informal poll, if there's any
Yeah, or
feelings.
if there's a suggestion box, maybe, you know, people can put something in there, or.
You know, because look, speaking for a group that's going through midlife crises right now. No, yeah. You know, when you hear a senior center from our perspective, you're like, yeah, that's
For the old people.
80 and above, right? And so I never considered, you know, I'm gonna start at 60 to 80 depending as well to take advantage of the program. So that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah,
Although one thing that we know is gonna happen is that people are still gonna call it the senior center. As somebody who moved here and didn't grow up here, it was a hell of a time getting directions. I mean, they would say, go past the old high school. What do you mean the old high school? Oh, you mean the current middle school, okay. Or go past the old Mormon church and down by the old sagebrush and down by, you know, go past the Nova Center, which is now Steptoe, or go past, you know, I mean, it's like, people will definitely still call it the senior center.
No matter what you name it.
I mean,
Probably
it must
so.
have been
yeah.
40 years ago, they changed City Park to Broadbent Park. It's still City Park, it's still County Park. I mean, we don't change what we call them, we change signs.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's,
true.
from a branding perspective, the marketing guy in me understands why they're at least thinking it through, but it would have to you'd have to have some data that says, we have this giant stack of people who refuse to admit they're getting older, don't wanna be old, which I actually am down for that. Like,
60's the new
stay young
40.
as long as you can, right? And if you could bring in that many and it was like a significant change, maybe it'd be a different conversation, but just a theory isn't worth all of that effort, so.
Interesting, interesting. Any other comments? Okay, I think that we had a good conversation.
Then I succeeded.
Appreciate it, thank you. I
Thank
do,
you,
I
guys.
appreciate, I mean, it's nice to know what the thoughts are out there.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by it too, but yet I get it when I look around at our clientele, that, you know, most of them are 70 and above. I mean, our 60 group is probably the smallest age group we have over there. So I kind of get where they're coming from, and I think programming is a great idea. Probably about 3 years ago, it was before COVID, we did cell phone training, which, I mean, you guys all know how many different phones there are out there and all that stuff. And I mean, that went like fire. They just couldn't get enough of that, and they set appointments, can we get one-on-one training on how to do different things with their phones, and they were so excited. So, yeah, there is that appetite for different kind of things out there, and we're
That's
definitely
great.
gonna try it, so.
Great.
Speed dating.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I think we're probably close enough. 1 minute, very 1 minute.
We should leave that one.
Okay, we'll let that.
Do the consent agenda.
Okay, let's do the consent agenda. I was gonna take one of mine, we'll wait. Let's go ahead then and do the consent agenda on page 4.
Motion to approve.